Hello and welcome to The Dirt and the Divine. I'm Krisha Young, your podcast host and an advocate for living a fully aligned and unapologetic life. This podcast is rooted in the belief that every beautiful life grows from both the messy and the magnificent. Here we share real, raw stories of people who face life's hardest moments, took radical responsibility, and chose joy and alignment over avoidance. My hope is that you hear these conversations and think, well, if they made it through and found happiness, so can I. This space is about honoring both the dirt and the divine because together they shape a life worth living. Please note that this podcast is for general discussion only and is not a substitute for therapy, legal, or professional advice. Now let's dive in. So today I'm excited to interview Eric Farewell. He's a serial entrepreneur, storyteller, and transformation coach who helps his leaders trade safety for significance. Best known as the founder of Aviator PPG, one of the most respected powered paragliding schools, say that 3 times fast, in the world. Eric has spent the last 2 decades building unconventional businesses and guiding others to live with bold vision and radical authenticity. Through his journey of launching multiple 7-figure ventures and navigating personal reinvention, Eric has developed a deep understanding of what it means to lead, to leap, and to build a life that's wildly aligned with who you truly are. Whether he's speaking about entrepreneurial resilience, spiritual leadership, or the gritty beauty of building from scratch, Eric builds raw honesty, grounded wisdom, and contagious inspiration. Hi, Eric.
Howdy, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I think that one of the most awkward things in the world is to have someone read your bio. I think it's just
Really?
that moment where it's like, well, I guess that's me. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I did those things.
I did that. That's me. Yeah. Also, it's an opportunity to go, that's me. I'm so proud of myself.
Like I should have rewritten that. It's not just 7 figures. I did 8 figures that business. But
Yeah.
it's always interesting because you're trying to distill a lifetime of experience to a few paragraphs to make someone palatable, right? To make someone interesting. And I think that it's a cool process. It's something that I'm really grateful we had ChatGPT to help us with now.
Same.
Because trying to write them for yourself is a lot more daunting.
It's so daunting. And we were just talking about this before we got on here. And this isn't going to be an AI conversation, although it might be, who knows. But we were just talking about leveraging AI and using ChatGPT, right? And getting it to like know who we are and understand us. And oh my gosh, I've just gotten so much done in the last 6 months in my business, like literally years worth of work in just a couple of months by leveraging this tool. Like it's so amazing. And I think that the more we train it, the more it understands us. But then you're right, every iteration it spits back out at me. I'm like, I don't know, it's not quite right. Like you're missing out on this thing and you're missing out on this thing. We're so multifaceted as people,
100%.
especially as
100%.
entrepreneurs.
And it's what's really fascinating too is that the pieces that it chooses to highlight for us that aren't really our truth. Like everything that said is true. Yes, those are things I have done. And yet, if I were to write my own bio, the most important piece of all of this is I'm a family man. I love my wife. I have incredible children. I
Yeah.
love to adventure. I love to challenge myself. I also really love comfort. I'm in this deep state of practicing bliss. I've been like in that gratitude world for years and years. I'm like, what's beyond gratitude? Well, it's bliss, it's love. So how do I practice bliss in every moment? Those things are far more important than making money, right? It's easy to say that when you've made money. I understand that. And I find that to be more and more true that no matter what level you're playing at, there's still opportunities to practice bliss, to be present with what is and find it joyful. So it's interesting. I love AI. I think there's a lot of wonderful things that are going to come from AI. The one thing I worry about at times, not worry, worry is the wrong word. The one area of concern I have is people who spend more time with AI than they do with AI, actual intelligence, what's in their body, what they know to be true, right? And so that's always my caution to clients. I'm like, guys, I love that you're using ChatGPT. I love that it's helping you amplify your voice. And what does your voice actually say?
Yeah, okay. Well, then let's go there because the AI conversation is easy. You just type in your thing or you speak into it or whatever, and it does spit back at you. But that is putting your authority out there, right? And unfortunately, we've been in a era here for a couple of thousand of years now where our authority has been outside of us. It's been in something else, like putting something else outside of us as the dictator of us, right? And I'm part of a cohort that doesn't believe in that. I'm part of the cohort that believes like, no, 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 we know who we are inside, and the more we go in and in and in and in and are self-directed, the more successful we become in every single area, right? And there's more and more and more people. I guess that's what the word woke kind of means, that are waking up. I think that's actually what that means, is to be woke, is to wake up or whatever, is to turn that spotlight from there to here, right? So tell us your story first, and then like let's jump into that. Like, how do people turn that flashlight and have that inner knowing within themselves, and how do you help men do this? I really I told you my mandate is men.
Mandate is men.
My
Yes.
mandate is men.
It's
This
a
is for
really,
men.
it's a great series of questions. One, I could just hear church leaders quaking in their boots, and they'll
I
say
know.
it's because they want everyone to be saved, but also donations, it's a thing.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot of times we've spent our life pushing our own ideology away and adopting others because it's simpler. If you have to create your own ideology, what truth is, uh, it is complex, it is challenging. And the reality is that all we really have is our perspective. And that perspective is based upon memory. And science has proven that memory is faulty. So all we really have are the lies we tell ourselves are truth.
Mhm.
So my perspective of you, your perspective of me, all of these things are different. Right. So we have all these fractal ideas of what reality is. And if you aren't deeply aligned in understanding who you are, why you're here, what your mission is, well, no wonder we have such a massive epidemic of depression and cancer and all these other things. That is our body's way of saying things aren't right. Things aren't good for us. So it's a very fascinating world. It's something that I'm far from an expert in, but I've spent a lot of my life, the last 7 years, diving down the rabbit hole and trying to understand better. To answer your question, I'll give the world's fastest, high-reaching overview. My name is Eric Farewell. I'm 39 years old, married, 3 kids, been married 16 years in September, which is crazy to me. Our oldest will be 14 next month, and he still comes and snuggles us, and I feel like that's a win. It's like the coolest thing. Every day I get this 6 foot tall man child who actually likes me. And then we have a 12-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter. We live in Austin, Texas. We moved here 2 years, 1 month, and 27 days ago. And moving here is like the biggest leap of faith. We still own multiple companies in Florida, which is where we're from. And we basically built those businesses over many, many years. I started working when I was 7, started my first company at 13, have built dozens of companies at this point. And really, for me, being an entrepreneur was a trauma response. It was a way to create value so that people would show me that I was lovable, because my childhood told me I wasn't. And I really wanted to matter. And I see this in a lot of entrepreneurs where they choose to work their 100-hour work weeks because it makes them feel as if they matter. And that was my truth. That was my reality. I lived at the edge of burnout, basically would go for 3 to 4 months at a time and then sleep for 3 days with a fever of 104 and wake up and go do it again. And it was so unsustainable, and it was killing my marriage. It was killing my relationship with my kids. I really didn't have a relationship with my kids. I would go to work at 5 a.m, get home at 11 p.m. and do it all over again. And 2018, my brother passed away in a car accident. He was 22. He had a 3-month-old son, and he actually came to live with us when he turned 18. So we had a 1-year-old child and an 18-year-old child. And let me tell you, parents aren't ready for that big of a spread, especially when you only have 1 year of experience being a parent. Super challenging, super awesome. He was my first employee at Aviator, which is our paramotor business. And I kind of started waking up. I realized that I either had to go all into my marriage and try to save it one last time, or follow through with the divorce lawyers I've been speaking with. We didn't like each other. We had so many stories back and forth of ways that we'd injured each other, and we were living in the story. One person would say one thing, the other person would respond, "But you did," or "You said," and it was just so unhealthy. So we decided to go all in. Therapy, meditation, breath work, discovered somatic work, and my life has changed forever. as much as I appreciate success, as much as I appreciate the freedom that it's allowed me to have to live in a nice house in a beautiful neighborhood in a great city and travel and do cool things, nothing is more important than relationship. And the first relationship was a relationship with me. I could not even utter the words, I love myself. I could not own that I had value on my own. And for years, my wife and I did left eye to left eye looking meditation for 2 to 4 hours a day, trying to grow, trying to be present, trying to figure out what this whole life thing means. And at the end of the day, we realized we still wanted to be married to each other. So we did the work. And I had people often ask me, like, how did you do that? How did you do that? I'm like, dude, we got lucky. There is no secret sauce. We're both pretty selfless people, and we got lucky as heck. I had another friend today tell me he's getting divorced, and I'm like, yes, good for you. That's perfect for you. It's been 20 years of misery, like 20 years of great stuff and great kids and hard things, and like you're not like some people can't amplify their life because of their partnership, and others do. And I'm getting very long-winded here, but the long and short of the long answer is just I'm really grateful for all the different chapters my life has had. And the chapter that I'm in today is a direct result of men's work. It's a direct result of having men to learn new tools with that I could then bring back to my marriage, bring back to my business, bring back to myself, having practiced them and molded myself into someone who could be safe for all of those things, whose nervous system is not dysregulated, who's not freaking out, who doesn't have, I still have big emotions, but now I actually know how to feel them. And I'm no longer, growing up, the only emotion I really witnessed from my father was rage. And for most of the feedback that I would receive when I was, a sensitive kid and cry was, you need to man up, you need to man up. And now I get to sit with whatever there is. And I'm really grateful.
I just want to take a second here and let all of that land.
Thank you for my monologue opportunity.
No, it's beautiful. And I can hear your projector in there. Like so much projectoring in that, which is beautiful. But I really want it to land for anybody listening or watching, whatever, because like, like podcast over, like you said everything in that. You started out by saying like the lies that feel so true. I call it the lie that feels like the truth, right? That's my phrasing. And I love this word, fractal. I love it. It's just like, oh, that makes me happy, that word.
It's funny when you say that. I immediately, like, I said the word fractal earlier, and I have a tendency to be the worst husband ever on Mother's Day. Like the number of stories I have of just being the worst husband and dad ever, like just going for a 15-minute flight and landing 8 hours later, like just random things that have happened and not realizing what day it is. And this year, my wife was out of town for 2.5 weeks for her sister to give birth. And I had the kids, and I ended up with 4 extra kids at a water park on Mother's Day. And my daughter goes into the mirror maze, the room full of mirrors. And I said fractal, and I just witnessed her running full on speed, face first into a mirror wall. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So every time I hear the word fractal now, I hear my daughter's forehead.
Oh no. Okay, well let's deprogram that lie. That feels so true. Fractal is a beautiful word when we're referencing it to our perceived reality. It's a perceived reality because Absolutely. It is fucking fractal. We're gonna call it fucking fractal from now on. But
That's
it is
the new name of the podcast.
It's like, what is the truth? What's the truth? What's the illusion? What's the truth? What's the illusion? And like, I love that I really want to like sit for a second and talk about what you and your wife did. Because that's not easy.
No.
I love the idea of, instead of he said, she said, he healed, she healed. And I love, like, And something else, I don't know why it needs to be said right now, but I can't stand the idea of, well, I don't resonate with the idea of to get over somebody, you got to get under somebody. I think to get over somebody, you got to get under yourself.
Mm,
And even if you're with someone, you need to get under yourself, right? Get like walk through this maze, that your daughter was in, and look at the fractal ideas, the lies that are the truth, that feel so true about who you think you are and what you think reality is, because it ain't that. It's not that at all. And same with your partner, right? Like there's projection after projection after projection after projection in that, and seeing things that actually aren't there, or maybe there, or that we're judging or whatever. There's so much harm in that. Is a lot of harm in that. And I love that you guys spent all of that time devoted not just to therapy, because therapy, I find that therapy is kind of interesting in couples work, because it's like, okay, the couple goes to therapy and then they're talking about the union, and then they go back, and it's like only if then that work is being done at the individual level and the somatic level and the spiritual level can the union actually get better, right?
absolutely.
But what happens a lot of times is that, like, okay, we're in therapy, I'm sitting there, and then like you go back to your things, and like a lot of times it's only one person, the person who initiated it, the person who wants the growth or whatever, and then that person's swimming around a circle with one arm, and this person's like, what, we went to therapy,
Yeah.
and then you go back and it's like same fucking problem, because at the individual level it hasn't been done. So I love that you did that with your wife, because now you can, with authority, help men do that, right? Like coach men on that, talk to men about that. And I love that you, um you know to like with the men's work, that you're like, men need to work with men, and then have these like tools that you're practicing to be safe. That's what I wrote down,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
um and then the other, and then we're going to pick all this apart. um but the other thing that you talked about was burnout.
Mm.
And I mean, yeah, duh, you're a protector. Like you're not supposed to work like that, right?
Well, the
Like,
way I work now is very different. I have
yeah,
90 minutes on my schedule every week. That's it.
you have what? Say that again.
I have 90 minutes. One 90-minute meeting is my work week.
Yeah,
And that doesn't even feel like work because it's all prepared by someone else and I just show up and I'm me.
yeah,
And that's really been a magical difference in energy, in happiness, and to be fair, being a workaholic dies hard. There's times where I get really bored, and I'm pretty sure I've seen almost everything on YouTube, but I still have a few more to watch. You know,
right.
but it
Yeah.
definitely is a different energy.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you cultivate more like this 90 minutes? Like let's talk to the entrepreneurs in the room, right? Like how did you do that? How did you cultivate that for yourself?
Yeah.
Especially
So
as a driven man who's like ambitious and wants all the things, and like you're big, right? We were talking about this just before we got on here, right? Like the bigness of where you are. You've built huge companies, 7 8 figure companies, right? I think you were saying something about your Aviator YouTube channel has, like, was it 100 million, how many viewers?
So National Stoll is an aircraft racing series that we acquired in 2022, and it's last year was 87.4 million viewers. This year we're on track for 120 million viewers, 12 live events around the country and growing. We've hit a bit of a setback. Our production truck and trailer flipped in Montana Monday and caught fire and destroyed everything. And insurance looks like they're not going to cover us for much of it. And so there are these moments of, whoo, that changes the game. But to go back to your previous question, like how do you do that? It's intention. I mean, everything in life, if you truly set your intention of what it is that you want and how you want to get there, and understanding that life is going to throw you turns that you don't anticipate, right? I I have had so many of these moments that are just almost like they are comical, actually, of anticipating something that will happen and it goes a completely different way. But I spent 3 years, really 4 years, working to extricate myself from my primary business, to no longer have to be needed at work, to step away. And in 2020, we were on a road trip for about 4 months, driving a 42-foot bus towing an 18-foot trailer with this massive, like, it looked like a train car driving down the interstate. And we got some terrible news. And it is now been 5 years of ongoing litigation and other challenges that from some fraud and just other stuff that had happened to us or for us. But it ended up with my wife getting the opportunity to work at our office, which meant I came home. We had 3 kids. There was no other option. We were homeschooling at the time. And suddenly, with me as the homebody, and my wife is the one going into the office and running a warehouse and a staff and a team, she's great at that stuff. She's amazing at anything left brain. She's super detail oriented. And our warehouse manager gave us like 5 days notice. So we had no time to hire someone else. And she's like, I think I could do it. I was like, well, I'd love to stay home. I enjoyed this road trip. This was fantastic. So here we are. Now I have to figure out how to make the business run truly without me. I could still be involved in meetings and that sort of thing, sure. And it took a few years before I was able to extricate myself from those. But eventually we built the right systems. And I can go super nerdy on this stuff. The baseline is this. Any company that has an incredibly clear, hyper crystal clear vision and mission that every employee is completely bought into and understands the core values of how we show up for our clients and how we change the world, how we make the world a better place, can have the founder step away. It takes a lot of time to crystallize that mission and make it absolutely real. And right now, that company is 100% staffed by alumni. It's a flight school. We teach people to fly, and 100% of our employees are people who learn to fly with us. It didn't used to be that way, but it became very clear that those people whose lives were changed by our service wanted to change other people's lives. It's like the 12-step program. The 12th step, you give back, right? It's the way to step forward. So it's been really a unique process. It's something that I do with founders now is look at their businesses, all the complexities, and find ways to, if not have them completely step down. My goal is a 50% reduction in work within 12 months. And most of the time we double their revenue as well. I can't say most of the time. What's the actual number? I think we're at about 70% increase in revenue as well. So it's not quite double, but it's pretty darn good.
So how do you help support people, let's say that if they have a service-based business where the product or service or whatever relies on the founder, right? Like coaches and things.
Like a flight school?
Yeah, I guess. But you can
Yeah.
train somebody how to teach, right? Like how do you train someone your craft when it comes to like coaching?
So it's actually really interesting. I had this realization a few years ago. It's like I've been teaching people to fly for over 20 years. And when you're teaching someone to fly, you're actually not teaching their adult self. You're teaching their inner child because it's something superhuman, right? You're doing something that's not, the human body's not designed to do. And it's scary. And our fears are almost all tied to inner childhood trauma experiences, et cetera, right? They're all spirals that have protected us thus far. That's what fear is. It is a system of protection, right? That's going to be hot. Don't touch it, right? So while I would absolutely say egoically, I'm the best in the world and no one is good. No, there's lots of people who are awesome. When it came down to it, I couldn't hire one person to replace me. I couldn't. I'm a great salesman. I'm a deep empath. I feel people. I know how to use my body language. I've been a natural NLP user forever. I've never trained in NLP, but every time I like get a little tickle, oh, that's NLP. I'm like, no, that's me. I don't know what you're talking about. So it took 8 people to replace me. And it took someone following me around and asking me questions every day. Hey, why did you do this thing this way? Why did you bend down and get on your knees to talk to that person? Well, I could see that me towering over them at 6'4" was making their nervous system tense. So by me getting below them, they weren't afraid anymore. Right? There's all these little pieces and parts. So whether you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're a speaker, I mean, the only thing you can't outsource in those moments, at least initially, is the marketing, because it's still your story. What's really fun is to shift it from being your story to being your company's story,
Which
to
is
being
where the mission comes in.
That's exactly right. So it was the Eric Farewell show for many years. And I was the face, I was the head instructor, I was the CEO, I was the manager of the team, I was all of these different things. And over time, I introduced new characters. And it stopped being the Eric Farewell show, it became the Aviator show. And now the Aviator show is a thriving, wonderful group of humans, most of whom have moved from elsewhere around the country and around the world to come work in Podunk, Central Florida, because it's the best place to fly paramotors in the world, right? It is wild to consider that. And it's because my mission and my vision was so clear and people felt it and they owned it. And now they do that every day. And the CEO there, Kristen, she's amazing. She is just the most incredible person that guides everyone from this place of love. And every business has that potential. I don't care how boring the business is. I don't care. Like, I was talking to a friend this week. He has a cellar door company in Connecticut. And it's like, what about cellar doors is sexy? Well, not really anything. But if you have a great cellar door that doesn't leak and doesn't make your house get filled with mold, and you have service people who show up on time and take care of people, and you have all of these different opportunities, suddenly you're solving a real problem and people really feel seen and honored and blessed. And that is a mission that your team can own. That's a mission that your team can be present with and can make their own. So it all comes back to that. It's like, how do you have a mission that really makes a difference? Because no one wants just to go to work and punch a time clock. I mean, maybe some people do, and I think we need those people. I don't understand them. I was driving the other day, and people were like working on the stoplights, and it was raining, and I'm like, man, I can't imagine going to work and working on stoplights all day in the weather. And I was like, but I'm really glad we have those people. I don't understand them.
But it's not to say that those people don't have a big mission.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just one that I don't understand yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love all of this because it, like, entrepreneurship in a nutshell is very personal, and it's it's a mindset, it's a soul set, it's an energy, it is a mission, it's a personal mission to start a business and run a business or whatever. And so there could be some control in here too, an ego of like not letting go of that, and like not wanting anybody else to like replicate or anything like that. But what I heard in you is like you kind of like came online to like, okay, I can't burn out like this anymore. I much prefer to be at home. I have a business partner, i.e. your wife, who has the energy to be able to manage and run the warehouse in a really super beautiful, efficient way. Plus she's totally bought into the mission anyway,
Yeah,
because she's 50%
yeah,
of that mission, right?
absolutely.
So like I can see how having that very clear mission, vision, and values for your company is so important, because it does, like, you're not selling yourself anymore. You are selling the product or the service or the result, right? Like you said, in terms of the cellar doors, right? Like you're selling something, like you're not going to have a leaky, musty basement, I could sell that. I could sell anything. I think I can sell anything. Like, I'm just a natural salesperson, and I think I do this NLP thing too. I don't know how I do it, but I think I do it. But anyway, um, but I think that just it's the enthusiasm for why you do what you do, like, what's your why that people buy into. And then I do think that what that does is it creates this innate ownership. They feel like they own part of the company, even if they don't have like shares or actual ownership or something like that. They feel like, no, I'm here because I believe in this. Like, I believe in this system. I believe in this product. I believe in this company. I believe where it's going or whatever. And yeah, I can totally see why this works in terms of like businesses and scaling and growing, and how you have to get rid of your ego in that.
Well, and you actually, like, you really need someone to help shepherd you. It's an ego death.
Yeah.
You're
Those are
giving up
fun.
your titles, you're giving up your responsibilities, you're giving up all the ways that people made you feel good because you were good at what you did.
Right.
And like, that's a huge part of what I do. Is I help shepherd people, is they let that piece of themselves die and come back healthier.
Mm.
Because a lot of times we end up in these patterns where we are really doing things that don't serve us,
Mhm.
so that we don't have to feel the things we actually need to feel, because to greed is to grow, or to grow is to greed, your choice. And there's a
Mm.
lot of grief.
So much. I love grief.
I
Oh,
don't know if I've gotten there yet. I have
oh,
been playing with the duality of grief, though, because you know what is on the other side of the coin of grief?
oh, it's bliss.
Exactly.
It's bliss.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
was
I
in a breathwork session with
know.
100 men in December, and I'm laying in the front row, and I'm like, I ended up hanging out with my brother a lot in breathwork. And I'm like with the grief of his death, I'm with the grief of the like, and some of the anger and all these different things. And all of a sudden I was just cackling, laughing, like just outrageously laughing, top of my lungs. And I was like, oh wait,
Mhm.
these are the same emotion.
Mhm.
Okay, I can be present with that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, grief is awesome. I
Mm.
started to play with grief. I think it was around 2020. It was in and around there. Obviously, we had nothing else to do but just be with ourselves. I was already very deep in this journey at that time anyway. And I had quite a few ego deaths, and like just the sobbing, the absolute sobbing that came out of me was incredible.
Mm.
And not just childhood wounds, but just like identities, like who I thought I was. Like I went through a period there where I was like, am I even like this? Like, who is that? I'm looking in the mirror and I don't even know what that is.
Mm.
Like, what is this thing staring back at me? Oh my gosh, it was so deep and so profound. And I just treasure that like so much because it like cleaned me up from the inside, you know, and really allowed me to fall in love with myself even more, like to your point. But yeah, I love grief because it's so fucking painful. Bring
Yeah.
it on. Like, yes, give me that emotional pain. I can handle big emotions. Like in human design, I'm emotional authority. And the more I decondition myself from all of the shame and all of the weirdness that we have around emotions, the more I'm able to be with the bigness of emotions and other people's emotions and my own. And like my wave and all of that can be quite a lot for people because it's so pure. Um, but it's like, ooh, I feel the bigness of that. And like, oh, that grief, it's so painful. And I describe it like it's opening your heart, right? Like it's really opening up your heart and right
Mm.
in here. And it's like, it's just that like that expansion that happens when you're in grief, when you're in the pain. It's
Yeah.
because it's like I call it I equate it to like when you have a blister and the blister pops and then there's that exposed skin underneath that's ouchy, right? That's what
Mhm.
it's like. That's what grief is, because grief is actually cracking you open. And we don't talk enough about this. And we don't talk enough about grief being not just for death.
Mm.
There's so many things that we grieve: the end of relationships, the end of jobs, moving, um I don't know, pets. Like I mean, it doesn't have to just be death. It's all the things we grieve, all the things
We grieve what was,
we
and
grieve. What was we grieve,
that's
you know
okay.
yeah, it's okay for women. I don't know how it is for men, but for women, like where I'm at in my physical journey, is there's changes happening to my body that are just beyond my control now.
Yeah.
And I'm grieving what I once looked like. I'm
Mm.
grieving what my body used to be like, and that's hella hard. um you know
Men do that too.
yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Is there a menopause? Is there a manopause?
It's funny. I actually had this conversation with someone in my life who's an incredible physical bodywork healer, just amazing. And she said, Eric, that men have a cycle too. It's called the circadian rhythm. Every day, it's
Mm.
like every day. Like when I work with women, which I really I wanted to go circle back to that because I think that doing men's work is super important. It's where we build skill, and I think that it's really important for the masculine to create a pedestal to enable the feminine, to empower
Oh,
the
we've got to
feminine.
talk about this.
Yes, so that's a whole other thing. But part of that has been like when I work with women, oftentimes something they never consider, because most of the women I work with are super awesome, badass people who've done lots of really cool stuff. Like they know how to build multi-million-dollar businesses. They're super sharp, and they've been trapped in their masculine for so long. They don't want to do anything to honor the feminine. And one of the first conversations we have, and I have two sisters and a mother who are very open about their period. So it was like just like it was a normal conversation. And so when I married a woman who is very open about her period, and I was like, okay, cool. So we have a conversation like, do you have 3 calendars? Because if you don't have 3 calendars, meaning one calendar for when you're ovulating, one calendar for when you're on your period, and one calendar for when you're not, right? These 3 moments are so impactful. You should probably not be doing 90-hour work weeks in the time when your body is in death, right? You should probably be absolutely thriving and working your butt off when you're ovulating. Like, these are beautiful opportunities. And when you start to honor that cycle, what I've started to witness in women who honor their own energy, they come alive and they become more successful. And it's not a victimhood, it's a gift. And it's so really, it's really cool. It's really special. So I completely honor what you're saying. Like, yes, we have to grieve what was. And the really cool thing, particularly for women who still have their cycle, is they have this opportunity to be present with that process every month. And it's something that, as a man, I mean, dude, I'm a straight white guy. Like, what can I say about a period or anyone else's challenges? I can't say anything. I know how incredibly entitled it even sounds to talk about this, but I'm just so honored to be a witness to any feminine who's in that process, who is in that state of honoring themselves versus subjugating themselves to, like, this is horrible, it's the worst thing ever, I'm awful, and I couldn't work as 16-hour day to day. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, we got your back this week, no problem. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh my God, you're making complete sense. And I want to say thank you, even though you're a straight white man. Thank you. Because you're a straight white man. Thank you. Thank you. No, for real. Like, thank you for recognizing that, because society doesn't. And so, to counter your point, most women can't do that because our society doesn't allow it, right? Like, especially if we're working in corporate or working for someone else or something like that, we can't necessarily say, sorry, boss, I'm not going to get this project done because I'm in the death of my period.
Right.
Like, or of like, I'm in the death of my cycle. Right.
Right.
Like, it doesn't work like that. Sorry, I'm not going to pay my mortgage right now because I'm experiencing a lot of physical pain in my body at the moment. And I literally cannot get out of bed and go to work. And so I'm unable to earn what it is that I need to earn in order to make my ends meet this month. Like, we have a very big reality here that our current systems are not set up for what you're talking about. And so a lot of women can't do this. And then the second part B to that is what you said about men being a pedestal. I have been thinking a lot about this lately, and about the masculine containment, right? And like the masculine being a container for the feminine. And if the masculine is like a colander, right? Like full of holes because he's not in integrity. He's what are holes? What are manholes?
Oh gosh, I mean,
Let's talk about some manholes.
yeah, manholes. I actually have a friend who made his hundreds of millions because he designed a machine that automatically installs manholes. I'm like, what? That is the coolest, weirdest business ever. Um, but I think that the first one, the most important one, is the one you just said. I gave up all my secrets in 2020. I told my wife everything, and I refuse to go back.
Oh,
The shift in my energy
so beautiful.
by living a life that has nothing hidden
Mm-hmm.
is the most impactful thing I've ever done. And for those of us who believe that there are such things as generational curses, I believe that the only way to heal them, the only way to complete, to not, heal is the wrong word, to bring them to completion, is to be radically present with what is and make sure our kids know about it too. And that's not to be overly transparent with a child before they're ready, before the right time. But I believe a lot in ceremony. And when my children turn 16, there will be a walk down a beach with a torch where myself and other men and women that they respect will share their secrets to bring them to completion. Because I think it's so important that these things end with us, and that we don't perpetuate a cycle of negative experiences, whether it be physical abuse, sexual abuse, whatever things that have happened to us, by us, for us. I refuse to allow my children to have to carry the weight of what I've carried.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, there's that beautiful expression, it ran in my family until it ran into me.
Yeah,
That's been my thing. Like, like, and there's emotional abuse in there and mental abuse. Those are the silent ones that don't get talked about enough.
absolutely.
And that
And,
they're
and the crazy thing is, when you start doing this work, watching it work upstream, like the direction you don't anticipate it going. Uh, my parents lost my little brother. My little sister is a quadriplegic after a skydiving accident in 2021. And I'm sitting with my parents in Salt Lake City, Utah, where they live now, to help take care of my sister. And my dad turns to me, we're Cracker Barrel, we're in the rocking chairs outside, and he says, so I was talking to my therapist, and I looked at him like he'd grown 3 heads. I'm like, you were what? Because the one place no one in my family had ever been was a therapist's office before we went, right? But now it's become normalized. Now it's become, hey, let's actually talk about our problems. Let's actually talk about our pain. Let's actually be present with what is. Let's find groups of people who've gone through the same thing. Let's be with people who are aligned with. Let's not just stuff it all down and pretend we're okay, because it's not working.
it's not working. So, okay, well then let's go back to the what are the manholes? Like if there's a man who isn't plugged within himself, how does that show up for men specifically? Because like I do a lot of work with women and I know how it is for women specifically, but how does that show up for men? Like for a man listening to this and being like, I don't need therapy, or I'm in therapy, or like I don't know, he's just kind of like on the fence, on the precipice, on the lean in, on the lean back, and like what are the holes? Like I think it's like boundaries and integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. And there's actually something that's been disturbing me since I saw it, and then I'm going to let you speak. But it's like it was a podcast. I haven't really watched it yet fully, so I don't know who the woman is. I don't know who was interviewing her. I don't know anything, but she was talking about how men are two different people, right? Like there's the public facing man, and then there's the private facing man, and how men are just like, I can't believe that that man would do something like that. And there were like thousands of comments from women
Mm.
being like, yeah, this is a thing. Does nobody know about this?
Hmm.
It's like, this is a thing. There are two men that show up. There's the public facing persona, and then there's the man that when the doors close that nobody sees but the woman.
Mm.
And this is a thing. It's a thing. And so let's talk about that. Like let's get raw and real with that, right? What are these holes that men have that when they can heal that, can then become safe for women? And why do so many men not want to do that? Like what's up with that?
It's a really, the numbers are really incredible. I was recently at a men's work conference, a place for men who do men's work, who bring somatic work and understanding into men's lives. And there's 86 of us there, and one of them runs a nonprofit, and they do studies on men. What percentage of men? I think it was 94% of men experience depression and do nothing for it.
Yeah.
Of teens, it's higher, and the majority of teens are considering suicide.
Yeah.
This is not a small problem.
It's not. It's a
Um,
big ass
it's a
problem.
huge problem, and I think that there's been a crisis of masculinity for a really long time, because we have the Andrew Tates, we have those who proclaim alpha male as the goal. We don't have yet. It's starting to, like, as the world is waking up, as more and more people are starting to become aware, I think there's becoming a dramatically larger number of people who are realizing that to be a complete man, you have to have nervous system regulation and control,
Nervous
which
system
means,
regulation. That's a
right,
whole.
that's a goal. And so the first thing there, my story is, in 2019, I was at a marriage retreat with my wife, our last ditch effort, and they split the men and women up. And a few minutes later, we're sitting in our chairs, we got our backs straight, and we have our hands on our thighs, and we're breathing together. Feeling our core, being present. And this is new as hell to me. I'm an ADHD kid who's never done any meditation, never done anything like this in my life. We're breathing and we're breathing and we're looking at each other, left eye to left eye, knee to knee. And the leader says, gentlemen, what you're practicing is self-control. And I felt rage. My whole life, everyone had always told me, from the time I was 3 years old, I've been told, Eric, you just need more self-control. You'll either be the president or be in prison if you only had more self-control. But no one told me what it was.
Ooh.
No one told me how to
Trying
get
to
it.
be a man. Mm.
So if a man wants to grow, they must learn how to be present with themselves. And it all starts with the breath. Emotional regulation, nervous system control is the first step. And I have to say this, most men, the only time they ever have an opportunity for a deep relationship with another man, and they were probably called gay for that too, was sports. I didn't get sports. I'm a homeschool high school dropout. We didn't have sports. But most men's last positive male interaction, brotherly bonding interaction, was high school sports, unless they were lucky enough to get into college sports. And I can tell you right now, if you want to have a man who has a terrible relationship with their partner and with their children, find a man who doesn't have relationships with other men. Having men that you can count on, men that you can call at 3 a.m, men that you know are there for you. January 30th, my father-in-law took his own life. And I immediately dropped in and I held space for my wife, and I was calm and I was collected and I was present. And 4 hours later, I dropped her off at the airport and I called my brothers, not my biological brothers, the men who I trust as my brothers more than my own brother. And I lost it. And I let them hold me. Just, I mean, literally like voice to text note. And what I got to experience the next few days were men who were checking in on me hourly. Eric, are you good? Eric, can we do anything for you? Eric, can I just come over and hold you? Telling you, those relationships exist, and they didn't for me before a few years ago. I've been in tons of masterminds. I had all these different people who were my friends. But I'm here to tell you, when you find the right people who share your values, who are willing to do the work, who are willing to go deep, to do the breath work, the meditation, the cold plunges, whatever it might be, to help you break out of your shell, to help you open your chest to the grief that's there, to look at the things that happened to you as a child that you need to recognize are still controlling the decisions you make today. Those men will help heal you. And the relationships I have today, that's why we moved to Austin, Texas. As part of a group here called Front Row Dads. It's a group of 300 men around the world. It was founded in Austin. So there's about 60 or 70 families here they all share values. We do life together. I have a volleyball tomorrow morning with I think 12 guys. You know, it's just every day I do something with another group of men. And it's a choice. It's a big decision for me not to be with my family. But I go. And what's really cool, now I get to witness these other men parenting my kids. These other men witnessing my kids in their greatness and challenging them when they're not being great. In the same way they challenge me when I'm not being great. It is those elements: integrity, letting out your secrets, nervous system regulation and control, which requires the work, practices like breath work or meditation, and then brotherhood. Those three things, when you find a man who has a deep brotherhood, who does the work somatically to be truly present with what is, whatever comes out of him, and who doesn't have to hold on to secrets or wear a facade. You know, they say in The Way Back to You, which is the first book I read on the Enneagram, they said that the first mask you put on is your personality. And for so many, there are different personalities you wear at different places. If you're at a bar, maybe you're acting this way. If you're out on a yacht like you were last week, I mean, maybe you're wearing a little sundress, like whatever it might be. And that's natural. It's natural to put on a personality, but it's who you are underneath it's not that it can't change. Who you are underneath can't be hidden from everyone. And for so many of us, especially men, who are never given a clear, I can't think of the right word, not perspective, but a role model. We were raised by men who were told that they had to be stronger than their emotions. We were raised by men who were told that they were too girly if they had any expression aside from anger or rage. Of course, we're in a place today where men are protecting every emotion except for anger and rage. Of course. We're told constantly that that's the healthy masculine. I'm here to tell you it's not. And there's something really special about men who've done the work, who show up and hold space and in presence for women. Like the mastermind. So I have this mastermind. It's a small group, and there's a few women in it, and there's some handpicked, cherry-picked baller dudes who do the work. And it's the first time for some of these women they've ever been in a container with another man who has the capacity that these men have. And I watch these women go from dashing, baller, masculine, awesome business owners to their little girl, their inner child, melting with love. Because for the first time, they're letting themselves be witnessed in the entirety of who they are, instead of putting on the mask of how awesome they are. So cool. It's like it's the greatest gift I've had this year. Like, it's just been beautiful to witness. Yeah. Thanks for the monologue time again. Man, we're just on the monologues today.
Love it. I want this to land for everybody too. First of all, holding space for you and your loss, or your wife's loss, both of your loss. Thank you for sharing that. Oh man. First of all, in my body, what I'm feeling right now is a very intense mix of like adrenaline stress, because there is a massive lack of this holding, this holding that you speak of. And so as a feminine woman, my nervous system is constantly like, because I am having to hold all of it, all sides of it. And I have two sons. One of the reasons why I want to talk to men about men is because I'm not a man and I'm raising two sons and I have no fucking clue what I'm doing half the time with them. And I want to send them into the world being men that women don't have to recover from. And I mean that because I've had to recover from this, what you're talking about, the opposite of this. Men who are not regulated in their nervous system. They are a different person behind closed doors, and that anger, that rage comes out. And men who aren't in integrity, who do have secrets and have shame around those secrets, and whatever those secrets are, and who don't have brotherhood or don't have healthy brotherhood. You talked about healthy brotherhood, because you can have your dudes, your friends and all that, right? But if they're misogynistic or talking like smack about women, it's the same thing with me and my girls. Okay, I got some pretty badass babes. In fact, I declared on Monday that Monday was Babes Day. It started out as National Babes Day. I was just so grateful for all the women in my life, and I'm having a shower and I'm like, oh, they're so awesome. And then I'm like, today's National Babes Day. And so I wrote a post on Facebook about it. And then I like messaged all my girlfriends and I called them all. I'm like, you're a babe. And here's why you are such a babe. And then it's not babe as in like aesthetic, it's babe, and then I'm like, okay, it's International Babes Day because there was babes all over the place in the States and in New Zealand. And then I'm like, fuck that. It's Intergalactic Babes Day because babes are stars, they're planets, they're moons, they're everything in their own right,
Yes.
And these women are imperfect in every way, but they're also perfect in every way. And what we do with one another is encourage each other to be better souls, be good to ourselves, to self-care, to self-regulate, to not gossip, no gossip, to hold space without judgment. I had a business meeting on Monday night where we were in a hot tub. So business, like in a hot tub, in a feminine way, to allow each other to emote and cry and just be and not have to worry about anything, and to not bash men.
Mm,
I don't, we can talk about our partners and be like, this thing's pissed me off and I'm not okay with this thing, and set boundaries, but there's no man bashing.
mm,
And so that makes me and my cohort of women safe.
right.
And that in the man world needs to also exist where you're not like, ugh, women, like fuck off.
Really quick, just because I know we're up close on time, but I
Yeah.
want to address something I think is really important.
Mm.
Talk a lot about masculinity. We talk a lot about femininity. There's an element that people aren't talking about. Maybe one of my next books, I'll write this, but do you know where all the magic in the universe comes from?
Tell us.
It comes from the feminine.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
all of my great ideas, certainly they're accomplished through my masculine,
Hmm.
but they don't come from my masculine. My masculine cannot create, right? Just as I can't create a baby inside of me, right? The reality is my genius is in my play with my feminine. And every man has a feminine side. This is one of the reasons why I swear I have a friend who's his book is behind me. It's you. What is it? Your brand should be gay, even if you aren't. Is the title of his book. It's wonderful.
I
Um,
love it.
but he turned him, Eric, do you know every gay man in Austin? And I was like, maybe, because I love gay men because they're in their feminine. They create with this incredible power of just flow. And so while certainly I work really hard to honor my masculine and to work really beautifully within that, have masculine strength, structure, and relationships, our magic all comes from the feminine. So if you're not getting the right ideas for your next $1 million business, maybe go dance.
Yeah.
Maybe let yourself move. Maybe like understand that that is all part of what's happening. Like my partner in my mastermind, she's a woman, and the group all calls her dad and me mom, right? Because she's in this beautiful, powerful masculine strength, and I just am playing. And I think that when we start to reduce the demonifying, stop making things demons. We stop making. I can't think of the word today. Apologies. Um, Demonizing. If we stop demonizing the fact that we both have both and they're both beautiful and that they're everything's on a scale. I mean, we look at the pride flag and they keep adding colors. And I'm like, that's great. We're trying to pen down and understand something that is in flow. There's no such thing as balance in nature. It doesn't exist. There is only flow. So how do we maintain a more dramatic flow in which the masculine is the container and the support structure and all the things that needs to be for kind, gentle truth, and the feminine is able to be fully seen. I have found that every female client I have, it's their greatest fear and their greatest desire is to be
Mhm.
fully seen.
Mm.
Imagine being in a space where you'd be safe to be fully seen.
Mhm.
How fun would that be?
Amazing. It's
Come to
amazing.
Austin. I've got some spots. We got
Yeah.
got some groups of people who can make that happen. It's amazing.
I love that. I love all of this so much.
Mm.
Yeah. And yeah, it's so delicious. Yes, like I said, my body is just like, but like, yes, that's so resonant. And then the masculine, the feminine can also be yin and yang. That's another way if you don't want to use those two words. It's yin and
Absolutely.
yang, right? Um, it's when I try to explain this to my clients or to people or whatever, it's like I live in Vancouver, right? And I can see literally right out my window right now, I can see both the ocean and the mountain. And the
Stop
mountain
making me jealous.
the mountain is like the masculine, it's the yang, it's that stillness, right? And so that's what the nervous system regulation does, and the integrity and the brotherhood, like it creates this like very natural stillness within a man, in the man woman dynamic, right, where the woman can be seen in that flow, and she's the ocean and she crashes and she's chill and she crashes and she's chill and she's wavy and she's not, and like having that in a container is so awesome. And the tornadoing and the hurricanes and all of that come out of that is the birthing. Like that birthing needs to have that wildness in a
Absolutely.
container. It's like you're not when women are pregnant, it's in a container.
Yeah.
Like imagine trying to create a baby in not in a container. Like the supernova, it's like when stars explode.
Right.
It needs containment, gravity or not non-gravity or whatever. I don't know how it works in space, but I'm sure there's some sort of containment around those stars that are exploding in some way, shape, or form.
There's a tension.
There's a tension.
And that's the thing is a healthy masculine can maintain that tension
Hmm.
and can recognize before they're going to lose it. This happens to me. There's times where I told my wife, like, sometimes it's like emotional whiplash. Like, I'll be in here, I'm having a great consulting session with a client, things are going really well, and I open the door and it's like, oh, she needs some containment. She needs me to hold space. All
Hmm.
right.
Beautiful.
And I can do a pretty good job most of the time, but every once in a while I'm like, hey, I need to step away for just a few minutes and recenter, get regrounded. Like,
Yeah.
but it's having the range to know that. Like that I did 7 years ago, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I know you need to go. So let's wrap this up because I wish we could just keep going. As what happens with almost all of my guests. So thank you, first of all, Eric, I really, really appreciate all your monologues. I appreciate your fire. I appreciate your truth. I appreciate your directness. I appreciate like your unashamed ability to be able to just talk about all the things, but I also really, really, really appreciate that you've done the work and you're speaking from a place of like knowing. You're speaking from a place of knowing, like you get this and you've done the work and it's very, very, very clear
To be
from
fair, I'm still doing the work.
yeah, right, it doesn't end.
There is no end date here.
There's no end. There's no end. So I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that for everything, everywhere. So where can people find you? What's the best way for somebody who's maybe interested in the mastermind or somebody who's interested in an aviator school or
Yeah,
whatever to get to know you, to support you? Give us all the things.
absolutely. I'm on all the socials as Eric Farewell, ERACFAREWELL. My book's on Amazon. It's called Farewell to Normal, and the new book will be coming soon. The Let's see, yeah, ericfarewell.com, socials, all that. If any men, or particularly for you as a mom, are interested, uh, I'm working with a group called Rising Man, which is a nonprofit that is dedicated to creating rites of passage for young men and old men alike, to allow them to have clear delineations between the man they were and the man they're becoming.
Love that.
So I have no financial skin in the game with them. I've been asked to be on their board of directors, and I believe in their mission and their leaders. They're just really strong people. Otherwise, Front Row Dads is the name of the mastermind that I've been a part of, and it is an international group. I'm also on the board of that one. So again, no financial recovery there. Sadly, I wish there were. But those are some incredible groups, and there are many other incredible groups around the world that do incredible things. The last piece I'd love to give is two pieces we didn't really get to talk about earlier. One is about codependence in relationship, and there's a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. Dr. Glover is a really good friend of mine now, which is crazy. I keep meeting my heroes and they're awesome. It's like which is radical. You're in the right space when the people you look up to and revere actually end up being like your people. The last one is The Amazing Development of Man by Alison Armstrong, who I also just recently met and is awesome. Those are some great places to start to look at ways to understand yourself better and to understand how your relationship is working better. Because the reality is we don't have relationship problems. There are you problems and there are your partner's problems. And there's nothing either one of you can do about either. And as we start to develop that sense and we start to understand and honor that, everything else becomes easier, because there's nothing harder than trying to build a business, raise kids, or do anything else when your relationship is suffering.
Yeah.
So deeply encourage people to dive down the rabbit hole, to learn as much as they can, to be present. Would be happy to hear from anyone that'd like to chat. Message me on LinkedIn, send me a message on my website, whatever. We're always available, and this is the work I was meant to do, and I'm really honored to be a part of it now.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. What was the other program called? There was Front Row Dad, and then what was the other one with the
Rising Man?
Rising Men? Okay. Yeah, I please reach out to Eric if you're watching this or listening or whatnot. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Close.
Hmm. Thank you. It's been such an honor.
And thank you to the dear listener and watcher of The Dirt and the Divine. I hope that you found this episode empowering for you, and go and take some action. Thank you for being here. And you can learn more about me at KrishaYoung.com. I don't even know who I am right now. Who am I? KrishaYoung.com. Or you can go to Instagram at the Krisha Young, or Facebook or LinkedIn. Just search up Krisha Young and you'll find me. All right, Eric, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And now go and be with your family.
Will do. Will do.